Hi all. I am glad who looked at my channel with selections of series and films. Today, the selection contains films of various genres, in which you can find something you haven't seen yet. Be sure to watch the collection to the end so you don't miss anything. And be sure to share your opinion in the comments if something you have already seen from this selection. It will help someone with the choice of a movie for the evening. Well, I'm starting. Last Night in Soho. The film tells the story of a girl who is studying in London to be a fashion designer. She is interested in fashion and dreams of becoming a fashion designer. All her free time, she develops her own collection and is constantly looking for inspiration. By the will of fate, the heroine is transported in time and ends up in the capital, Great Britain, in the 1960s. There she encounters a famous singer, whose work she simply adores. However, after a while, the girl realizes that London, in which she is so surprisingly hit, not at all what it seems at first glance. And time for her breaks up, which entails the most unpleasant consequences. Of course, I realize that you came to my channel to watch this video and that's it, but I would really appreciate your support. Our channel needs free, but very valuable support in the form of subscriptions and likes. It is very important because without it is very difficult to popularize our content. Please note that our channel has already prepared a lot of selections for you, so do not forget to watch them. Don't forget to watch them as well. We promise it will be interesting, and be sure to write in the comments what you liked and what you didn't. That's all. I'm not going to distract you anymore. Enjoy your next viewing. Free Guy. An NPC in a computer game gets out of control and changes the world. This is the comedy blockbuster of the year, a spectacular and fun immersion in virtual reality. In the life of a nameless guy, everything is simple: the same coffee in the morning, blue shirt and prepared phrases for any occasion. He spends the whole day at work in the bank, and meanwhile outside the window unfold fantastic battles with skirmishes, explosions, chases. But that's none of his business. All the adventures go to people in black glasses, from which the guy prefers stay away. Only once he falls in love with one of them at first sight. For the sake of the dream girl, the guy also puts on black glasses. He discovers the shocking truth: his entire world is a computer simulation, where it is just one of the background elements. Old genre. A farmer living in the wilderness with his son, in the middle of deserted hills, finds a equipped horse and a bag of money with bloody footprints on the saddle. Going in search of a horseman, old Henry discovers a wounded stranger, brings him home and takes care of him. Very soon, 3 horsemen come to him, who are searching for the man himself, but something about these people alarms Henry. The Mauritanian. The Mauritanian movie is based on real events. The protagonist, Mohamed Ould Slahi, due to the mistake of the authorities, turns out to be in the most terrible Guantanamo prison. He is accused of terrorism. After spending more than 6 years behind bars, Mohamed finally gets the right to a lawyer. A lawyer and a military prosecutor are taken to prove his innocence, but the fact is that they themselves are not sure that the prisoner did not commit terrible crimes. Watching the movie will make you think about many things. It will be interesting to follow plot twists and find out how it all ends. The White Tiger. The film takes place in 2010. In just a week, the Chinese premier will arrive in India on a working visit. One of the items in his schedule is getting to know the locals, entrepreneurs, but until this happens, Bolram writes him a letter in which he tells about your life. The hero grew up in poverty and did not have even the slightest hope for a better future. All he wanted was to get a job with a wealthy man. And then one day fate smiled at him. The guy was able to fulfill his dream. The son of a local rich man returned from America, who became the master of Bolram. This work and acquaintance with high society greatly changed the worldview naive poor man. King Richard. Richard made a plan to raise champions, and in time the whole world knew the names of his daughters are Venus and Serena Williams. An inspirational story about the family and early successes of 2 famous athletes. Richard's greatest fear was that his children would be overtaken by the usual threats of black ghetto, drugs, street crime, shootings, poor life and early death. He did not have the money and connections to provide them with a decent future, but he had a plan. Even before the birth of Venus and Serena, Richard decided that the girls would become the first rackets of the world. Faith in the power of family support and determination did not fail him. At some point, it seems that Serena goes into the shadow of her older sister, but parents do not stop supporting them both. Girls are waiting for a difficult path from home workouts to classes with legendary mentors, From first matches to dizzying contracts, all this is just the beginning. If you have already watched this movie, share your opinion in the comments to help other moviegoers decide whether to watch or not. Watch this movie. The Unforgivable. The film will tell the story of the life of a convicted murderer, Ruth Slater, who spent 20 years in prison. When the prison term ended, the heroine was released. All this time she spent behind bars for killing the cops while still a teenager. From now on, a woman will have to try again to become part of a society that has changed a lot in her absence. Ruth needs to forget and let go of what happened in the past. However, it will be very difficult. It turned out that even the closest to her people aren't happy that she's back. She is also going to find her little sister. After the verdict, she was adopted, but she'll have to do it on their own, since people don't believe in fixing the cop killer. At the same time, the partners of her victims will keep the heroine in constant tension, because they did not forgive her the death of their friends. The Last Duel. In the center of the plot is a Norman knight named Jean de Courrèges. Going to war, he leaves his beautiful wife Margaret. Jean is sure that he will keep love. It is this feeling that will sustain him, and if he manages to survive, they will be happy together again. Returning home after the war, Jean is horrified to learn that a neighbor and an old rival abused his wife during his absence, but he managed to escape punishment. Influential allies and friends helped him. Society does not believe the words of his wife and the King of France. Francis VI decides that such a conflict can only be resolved by help duel. Jean is shocked by what he heard and intends to seek justice. He feels that he must stand up for the honor of his wife and take revenge on the enemy. To do this, he will do anything. If her husband is defeated, she will be burned at the stake for slander. Wrath of Man. A wave of robberies is sweeping through Los Angeles. The gang is exercising armed attacks on cash-in-transit vehicles of one of the firms, going through hard times. The last armed attack ended in the death of 2 guards, shot in cold blood by one of the masked criminals. A few weeks later, the silent Briton Patrick Hill settles here. Having hardly passed the standards, he receives a service weapon and steps up to the first work shift. Colleagues of the newcomer, nicknamed H, are Dave and a machine gun with years of service behind them. Partners notice that the new collector is behaving extremely suspiciously. He is reluctant to make contact with others, and also retains an amazing calm. The first few outings are uneventful, but in one of unfavorable quarters of the metropolis, a truck with money is attacked by bandits, blocking escape routes. The machine gun is taken hostage, while Dave panics. H single-handedly deals with a whole squad of armed thugs, receiving praise from superiors. Machine Gun and Dave set out to find out who the newcomer with the dark past really. Write in the comments which movie you will watch first. Dune. The film tells the story of Paul Atreides, a talented young man. Born into a wealthy family, he is destined for a great future, which he is not yet able to realize. One day his family is sent to a distant and dangerous planet Arrakis, where, among the endless sand dunes, a spice is mined, a psychedelic substance necessary for intergalactic travel. Prey is hindered by creepy creatures, huge sandworms that react to sound and devouring everything in their path. While the Atreides settle on the planet, they do not realize that they were sent to certain death.